Well, we've been training yoga teachers for a long time, and they keep asking for more experience or seeing how we teach and what we do, right? And so we just started we're going to start recording classes once in a while and just throw the classes up. They're just going to be a normal class. You don't have to worry. There's nothing extra special going on. It's just going to be teaching, languaging, same as always, and then they can go watch it if they want. Because part of what happens is you need inspiration, and that's what they're out there in their own silo, right? So sit up straight and tall. Begin the process of moving inward by feeling your body. So you put your hands on the back of Carol's shoulders. So you just get, and always one of the things that's really important in the beginning and when you're centering is knowing that centering is not necessarily just to get straight and tall, but to actually start preparing the part of the mind-body relationship that we want to have working, that where all yoga comes from. So it's not just a clearing of your mind, it's actually a letting be of the core of you. So presence is not something you intend, it's something that you allow. Right? That we're trying to, in the beginning of class, we're trying to center more and feel more inward, more towards the midline. Less about judgment. So yeah, your mind should clear, but in general, we want the spine to be more present in your movement than it usually is. So the beginning of class is more about allowing the hum, the feeling, when you stop judging. Especially try to open up to what's behind you. Right? There's support. There's support. If you can allow in the space directly around your body without having to fight against it like you're always colliding with the space around you, but rather than that, you're letting more of it in, that's really important in the beginning of class. So your yoga is not slicing through space, it's actually integrating with space as it's moving. That's allowing that level of unity between you and what's around you is part of what you're trying to achieve by centering, by feeling more rather than less, by allowing sensation. So you're trying to open to what's behind you and let that gently open your chest. So the asana then layers over what you're allowing. So balance your head over your neck. Notice that changes things too. We're looking for subtle sensation in the beginning of class. That is the heart of yoga. That's the heart of all strength. So as you start to layer in the asana, lift up the front of the chest, broaden out across the shoulders. Make length from the side waist to the side armpit chest. So now you're trying to support this feeling with action. Broaden across the collarbones, across the back ribs. Feel the outsides of your feet, where your sitting bones are. Allow. Breathe. Close your eyes from top to bottom if you haven't. Soften the jaw around the temples, the inside of the mouth. As you do this, lift the spine a little bit more. Yeah. The spine's the center of consciousness, more than your mind. When your mind starts to waver, repose. Reinvigorate through the body. Good. And then release. Take your sternum up towards your chin down over your sternum. Don't work too hard, especially here in the beginning. There's time to work later. Raise your head up with closed eyes. Open your eyes. If you're on the floor, change the interlock on your legs. If you're sitting in a chair, you're good. But readjust just a little bit. Like so, reposition yourself on your sitting bones, Carol. Right, so can you tell which sitting bone you have more weight on? So is there a way for you to adjust a little bit? So maybe that, yeah, just a little bit. Straighten out? Yeah, because what ends up happening when you fall into the place you always fall into, your mind dulls just a little bit. But it's also to help you to balance, so it's totally fine. But that little bit of change, you see how that little bit of shift made you have to be more alert. That's what the alertness is what you're after, right? All right, so a little bit on symmetry. So the great thing about, this, what we have to get at is as people arrive and come, that's part of the class, right? So just for a while, no, it's totally fine. It's a good thing for like people that are watching. Practice symmetry, but I want you to do it more from your breath. So prana follows consciousness more than it follows breath. So I want you to feel the breath into each nostril. Just like literally as you inhale, if you can breathe through your nose, feel the difference. And what you're going to find is probably you feel more of your breath in one of the nostrils than the other, right? It's kind of wild, but it's my right nostril. My left nostril doesn't get the same type of inhalation. And it turns out that actually reflects into my lungs, that my left lung doesn't fill up as much as my right lung. It has to do with my scoliosis and a whole bunch of things. So in this little quiet part, like we're trying to work on symmetry, but doing it from very subtle sensation. So inhaling in through the nose, trying to feel it go equal into the lungs, and you can actually kind of affect that. Like if you put your mind a little bit more on the nostril that you don't feel as much, and then keep your mind in the lung that doesn't get as much air, you can actually change it. That it turns out that your asymmetrical breathing is actually more of a habit than it is necessary. Kind of like you're dominant with your right hand or your left hand, you have a dominant hand. You just get used to kind of having it be unequal. Turns out that human being strives and thrives on things being unequal. That we actually don't want ease. Right? So I want you to, for a while, to do it the other way, Into each nostril, into each lung, feel each sitting bones, feel the bottoms or outsides of each foot. So you're practicing symmetry, an equal distribution of presence throughout your body. So because your mind is in it symmetrically, you're being aware of each hand, each elbow, each sitting bone, the outside of each foot, each shoulder, the tips of each shoulder, but you're also feeling your inhalation through each nostril into each lung. You're actually trying to practice the symmetry with the subtleness of your breath. Your breath isn't trying to push the symmetry. Your symmetry is trying to receive the breath. So you're keeping your mind more equally distributed within your body. So when I start to do that, I can tell that one of my hips doesn't get as much breath. One of them's a little bit darker. One of them's unequal. So don't push your breath into what's unequal. Try to adjust your body. So Carol, that means getting more equal on your sitting bones such that when you inhale the same as you've always been inhaling, it actually gets farther into your body, farther into your awareness. So when you're moving throughout your day and you've got nothing to do, like I spend a lot of time in the bathroom catheterizing, right? So I do stuff like this while I'm cathing. I'm constantly, wherever I have space in a grocery store line, I'm actually doing stuff like this, trying to feel more symmetry. It's the great thing about yoga. It goes anywhere and everywhere that you can go. So just again, keep the breath. So now what's going to happen is off this core balance symmetry, That's where action in an asana is going to come off of. Right? But when you start moving hard, you're going to go unequal again. Good, and then release. So it's hard for you to sit up straight like this? So then always choose as a student, there's a diminishing return when you hold in a pose too long. So that was great. You probably should have come out a little sooner because you came out and you're like, you collapsed. Right? And like, oh my God, I'm about to have, pass out from whatever. So try not to let it go that far. That's just a little bit of good advice, right? All right. So stretch down through your arms for a second. Lift under so here comes the asana. Broaden across the back ribs. Stretch down through your arms. Open your elbow pit. Now squeeze your upper arm. So bring the tricep forward and the bicep back. But as you squeeze the humerus bone, as you squeeze them together some, right? Don't you squeeze them together and not extend out through your hands. Try it again, release. So some of you went, and then things froze, right? No, I want you to be aware of the center of your chest, the space below or outside of your hands. I want you to move and the space out through the top of your head. I want you to squeeze the upper arm together in a way that feeds all those spaces. Right? So when the muscle comes towards the bone, you're actually using that as a distribution of presence. So your effort, so lift under the collarbones, lift the chest. Your effort in any part of your body is to integrate you with what's outside of your body. This is going to be the key to balancing. Right? Balance is going to be key. Right? Good, and then release. Take your arms down. So if you scoot a little bit more away from the wall, what's your first name again? Scott. Scoot a little bit more so you're not sitting up straight, so straight up and down. And I think that's going to make you not work so damn hard. So lean back against the wall. Is that a little easier? Right? So even though you're not quite as forward, you're making a choice on this. This is going to be, for this part, is going to help you not always be fighting and almost at the edge of your breath. Okay?
Yeah, it's upper back versus
right. Yep. All right. So again, hit down with your arms. I know it's subtle. Don't worry. The hard stuff's coming. You want to work really hard, right, Carol? Right? Mm-hmm. Do you really?
We do.
I know you do. Yeah. All right. So stretch down. Hit the upper arm together, broaden across the chest, broaden out the top of your head, and broaden down through the floor. Hit down through the floor. So I want to see all those actions at once. Yeah, there you go. And I want you to breathe. So you're breathing into a sensation of strength and a sensation of expansion. I'm just going to touch you right here. I want you to open up right there. Is that okay? Now work your arms. So you have one arm that works harder than the other? So try to tip your head straight. Yep. Lift under the collarbones, ground down to the heels. So you're hitting the upper arm together. Now you're going to take your arms wide. This is hard, I know. Don't worry, we're almost done. Take your arms wide, straight up. So this is where assistance might start helping, right? And then turn the palms up and take your arms up over your head. As you go up, you better hit down through your sitting bones. Grab the rope behind you. You might as well, Scott. You might as well just cheat. Right? You got ropes by you. You might as well. Again, we're looking for expansion. We're looking for a sense of relief. Try to help both arms. So grab one wrist with one. Yep. So you get the connection between the two. It's not just trying to get that arm straight. What's more important is that you get a sense of working both arms together. That's more important. Now lift the sternum. Right? So it's more, rather than straightening this arm as your goal, it's to get these two talking better while your sternum's lifting. Right? All right, so you keep stretching up. Broaden across your palms. Now broaden and open the sole of your feet. Grab the rope again, Mr. I'm going to do everything on my own. All right? And have I nailed you right now? You got to think that's probably you in a nutshell, right? And then broaden across the class. Keep extending up. But as you're working and fatiguing, notice you're fatiguing right now a little bit. Try to stay connected to everything else, right? Try not to recede as you fatigue. Instead, use some of the fatigue. That's why we're here to help you some. Use some of the fatigue to help you expand. That's why I want you to have a little bit of ease. Exactly, right? And a little bit of ease. Now use that as a way to expand. Your fatigue is part of your pose. Good, and then release. Fatigue is not to be pushed through. It becomes part of your pose, right? It becomes what you breathe into. It becomes part, it's your subtle body beginning to not know where it is, right? All right, so why don't we move out, lay flat on the back. So, are you willing to come down onto the floor?
Yeah, the legs stay in that position. That's kind of like
Okay.
so we can get a couple bolsters.
Well, would you rather work in your chair?
It's up to you.
Let's wait for a little before you come down. Let's wait a little bit. Mm-hmm. So, you're good. Now face the other way. You might as well face. That way we can look up your shorts. Yeah, that's what we're after, you know. All right. So here at first, I just want you, so Scott, I would say that's a little too much under your head. So let's get a couple blankets instead of that high of a bolster, right? And so we're just changing right now. And before you start working to a little more under your head, Renee, right? Renee? A little more under your head, like another blanket. Yeah, the rule of thumb is if your ear hole is tipped back and not parallel to the floor, it's not enough. Right? Not yet. All right, so now you guys do you think I'm just here to have you hang out, right? Incorrect. All right, so right now there's a little bit, and I would put a little bit behind her back. So like even your fist for a second behind her upper back. Mm-hmm. So you're going to give you a little more input, like actually use your foot. Yep. Have her lean forward a little bit. Mm-hmm. Is that okay? Is that going to feel like you're going to fall? It doesn't feel good? Okay, so you got the sensation of ease, right? Because your whole spine is connected, right? But instead of just like thinking that ease is supposed to bring you to sleep, right? Ease is going to be the cornerstone both of your balance and of your expansion, right? So before you start, turn your palms up if you can, if it doesn't hurt, right? So Jeff, I think you should maybe put your hands on your ribs or on your legs, because hanging in the air like that is not ease, right? Right, but I want you now, and no, it seems really small right now, but I want you to use the ease, and I want you to pick a point in the center of your belly, right, and go from that point out across your torso, down through your legs, and out through the top of your head, right? So I want you to like pick that point and move from an epicenter. And let's put it right at the crest of the rib cage, right at your solar plexus, right? Where a whole bunch of integrated modalities think is like martial arts thinks that's the center, right? And so I want you to move in every direction from that spot. So then to move even better, right, I want to have your toes back towards your face. Mm-hmm. So this would be a good time for assistants that are around to put their feet into other people's feet, right? So we're going to give you more reference, but I want you to keep moving from the center of your torso out through your arms, out through the top of your head. Mm-hmm. Rolling the inner upper thigh slightly in and stretching out through the heels. Stretching out through the top of the head, broadening across the collarbones front and back. I want you to literally work on expanding and inhabiting your body from inside to out. Inside to out. Mm-hmm. Now, what's hard about this is that the instructions don't give you muscles to grip on. So, like Renee, I can tell you're doing a lot from the inside of your mouth, right? You're trying to go, I don't know what to do. He's giving me all these damn instructions. And so if I grip kind of hard and I just kind of make the inside of my mouth kind of tense, right? And that's what we all do when we have instructions that aren't physical enough. Instructions where you want to feel something to ensure that you're working. And I want you, because balance doesn't work that way. Balance doesn't work from gripping something. Balance works from opening something, right? Opening into something and then grounding. So you're trying to do these little actions. So you got the reference on your feet. You got the relief. Now try to like grip the upper arm again. Grip the humerus as a way to expand. Don't just grip the humerus as a way to, your upper arm as a way to lock your body down, but start to use your arms, the tricep and the bicep going towards the bone to stretch out through your heels, right? You start to activate all the way through your body. Broaden across the collarbones, push out through your inner heels, move the upper arm, but of course go beyond your fingertips. Why don't you open your palms? What the hell? Why don't you try to receive more of the space around you? Keep breathing, re-soften the inside of your mouth, right? Re-soften that, re-soften the neck, and extend in every direction. So you're working certain muscles. So of course the way you squeeze your upper arm, the same thing should be happening in your thighs. Right? The same thing should be happening in your thighs. That's yoga. That's the essence of downward facing dog too, by the way. Good, and then release. So with Zach, if you think about Zach sitting up or Carol sitting up, right? So one of the things that needs to happen in this, for him to do this, right, is rather than extend out through the inner heels, you have to extend from the inner groin to the inner knee and then down to your feet. So use the block as a way to get connected to the upper arms hitting towards the bone, right? So again, everyone engage again. So your arms are at your sides. You're getting longer through your pose. But now I want you to like work the upper arm, work the tricep and bicep towards the bone as you broaden across the chest, broaden out through the heels. Try to open your palms, Carol. Try to open your palms. Get everything working. Breathe. And try to keep, and then what I find, you might want to release the upper arms a little bit and the legs a little bit, and then repose. Reposing shows you how to, you do it one time through, and then the next time through, you can do it even better. So I want you to squeeze the upper arm, roll the upper thighs in, inner upper thighs, stretch out through the heels, broaden across the collarbones, go out through the top of your head, go out through the bottoms of your feet. Oh my God, soften the inside of your mouth. Just grow in every direction. See how the brain can't be in charge of all that? You have to grow from the inside out. You have to let the spine move through your limbs more than your brain tries to control everything. This is at the essence of a refining yoga pose. And it's just going to get more complicated. Good, and then release. So now, if we can sit up, that would be great.
That felt so great.
That was Tadasana, right? All right, have a seat up. How are you doing today?
Pretty good. Feel pretty good.
Do you? Are you thinking a lot about stuff?
No.
Yeah, I can tell.
Yep.
Yeah, what are you thinking so much about?
All the instructions.
Gotcha. Notice that in transition, I ask questions. I check in with people. Right? So I let the transitions be the time that I actually check in with individual students. All right, yep. So now, take your legs wide to whatever extent. If they have to be bent, that's fine. But take them a little farther out. This is where, if you can balance, you might want to sit on a little more height. Right? If you can sit on a little more height, that's going to help. If you can't, no big deal. Is that a spasm? Is that when you try to work too hard, Carol? I'm trying to learn really fast.
And when there's any change in movement, generally that happens.
Can you come forward on your sitting bones? Can you lean forward some? Not just with your head, but from your back more. So maybe scoot to the edge of the chair more. Is that possible? All right, so now I want you to like get a place where you can put your hands on the ground, palms down, if you can, a little more forward. Can you come a little forward? Bend your knees if you have to. Don't worry about straightening your legs so much. So ground your hands, right? Get them on the ground, right? Try to lean forward. Can you bring your hands more up by your knees? Or by a little forward? Yeah. Well, she's going to sit right behind you and see if you can, see if that helps. Is that okay? Right? Right? So now can you place your hands on the ground?
Yes.
Yep. Right? And let her support you. Is this taking your breath away? I know you're okay, but is it taking your breath away? See the difference? Right. I know you're okay because you're tough as nails. I know that, right? But I ask you, is it taking your breath away, not whether you're okay? Because I know you're okay even with, you can be okay even then when you don't have your breath, right? So that's the difference. When I say, is it taking your breath away, you can just say yes, no, maybe so. Okay? All right. Place your hands down, right? Can you get them on, maybe for Jeff with them blocks? Now I want you to get now, we've switched gravity, right? Now you're more upright. And you think the stuff we're doing with your arms, that wasn't just for show, right? I want you now to ground your muscles towards the humerus bone, right? Lift, press down through your hands, lift out of your wrists, work your arms, and then extend out through your legs. So use them, connect, and then relax again. Try to do it all at once. So as you start to engage the arms, you are engaging the legs as you engage the arms, right? That you start to get that is like part of what goes together, right? So the muscle, you see what I'm talking about? I see you nodding. That's dog pose. That's at the inside of what is being taught in dog pose, right? So you're working your upper arms together, you're hitting your thighs down, you're opening your palms, you're stretching out the top of your head, you're broadening across the chest. Remember, you can't keep up with all the instructions I'm giving you. Did you get that? Like I'm purposely giving too many. Okay? And then, so all these are ways for you to make there be more discipline about expansion. But I want you to ground your hands and your legs, your upper arm, right, to your thigh bones, right? And then have your spine extend through that space. So hit down through the sits bones, ground up through the spine, right? So you got your upper arms and your thighs. Your wrists and your ankles being connected, they're working, and now you ground your sitting bones and go through your chest and have the energy of your spine go right through your limbs. This is Supta Padangusha. This is also would be Prasada Parasarasana, right? This realization is in a whole bunch of poses. So your upper arms and your legs are working, and you're creating the space for your spine to extend. When your spine extends, it refeeds your limbs. And then you're trying to remember to breathe as you're working this hard inwardly. Good, and then release. Take a break. Take a real break. That's hard work, right? By the way, this would be hard work, whether this was an this would be so hard for a traditional class right now. What I'm asking you guys to do, they would run for the exits. It's so hard. And I'm not just saying that. Because they get all thinking, oh, it's got to be about movement. When you get a traditional class thinking more about this type of inward work, they're like, oh, God, they feel trapped. So this is hard work, and it should be taking your breath away a little bit. And it should be making you work, getting some heat. I turned off the fan because of the noise, but if it gets too hot, right, it's saucy out there, right? All right, again. So now you can take your feet a little farther apart. Feet a little farther apart. Ground your hands, ground your feet. So assistants can maybe put reference into people's feet. So whoever's working with Carol's going to ground your feet as you like open your palms off at the side. So we're trying to get you to ground your hands, ground your feet, extend your spine, and extend out through all of your limbs. Get bigger in space. Remember, there she got. I was just about to bust her, and she got it right before I was going to call her out on the table, call her out on the floor, right? Yeah, because that's actually not helping when you do that. But it makes your mind think you're helping, so I like it. It helps because it gives you confidence. It does me anyway. And broaden across the collarbones, front and back ribs. Extend out, work the upper arm towards the bone, work the legs down, extend the spine, get bigger in space. This is expansion from inside to out. This is like what it means to really work. Hit the sits bones down, broaden across the shoulders, expand out through the ribs. See out through your wrists, out through your ankles. See the expansion. Breathe into the expansion. Good. And then release. So if we want to make it harder for Zach, which I always do when I see Zach, right? I want you to take your arms wide and do the same thing. So he was really smart. He was grounding on his own femur bones. Take the other arm wide.
I knew you were going to make me do that.
Yeah, exactly. Right? And so this idea of grounding is really important, right? So, all right. So now, those of you that can, take your arms wide. Even if it's just if your elbows are up. Even if it's just that your elbows are up. Right? Yeah. That's right. All right. So then the person helping. I don't care. If you want to cheat, that's fine. Stud. All right. Bigger now. Do you know? Here's where I want you to get arms feed the legs, legs feed the arms. So you can help Scott if you want. Scott, right? Yes. So you can. What you're doing underneath his wrist was really smart. That was smart. Okay. All right. Now lift your sternum. Yeah. Hit down with your thighs. Connect your wrists to your ankles. Connect your sits bones out to the top of your head. Move from the center of your chest out through both your wrists and ankles. Grow into space. This is hard-working expansion. Breathe. Breathe into the whole vessel. Work the upper arms to work the thigh muscles. Work the thigh muscles to work the upper arms. So for Carol and Zach, that means ground from the inner groin out to the inner knee as you're working your upper arms. Take your head back a little bit, Carol. There you go. Good, and then release. Oh, did I forget about you guys? Oh, no, that's too bad. All right. So, Amy, will you do Prasada Parasarasana? So for me, one of the breakthroughs in yoga was actually when I realized this is Upavista Konasana, when I realized that this is where I realized how my arms work my legs and my legs work my arms. Now, the more you can practice that inward connection, especially people that are having trouble walking with balance, the more you can get connections above and below your spine, the better it's going to be, right? Taking a break. Are you dizzy or anything?
No.
You're not dizzy, just taking a break on your back?
Just the core.
That's awesome. And I just want to make sure I don't have enough in class. So, all right. So here, going to grab up on the elbows, right? So here, just look for a second. So we're going to go through a couple of standing poses here. Look how when her arms are this way, right? It's actually being more about her spine. When she takes her arms wide, right? This is the beginning inside of every standing pose. What I want you to see is this, right? It's obvious, right? But what's going to happen is this is a version of what you're sitting in Upavista Konasana, right? Is that I'm trying to get you to work your upper arms to your thighs. And as you do that, as you work them together while grounding your feet and opening your palms, you're setting the conditions for your spine, right? To be really active. Okay, so that's the beginning of every standing pose. So she's going to grab her arms up again, and notice what changes, but she's going to bend forward in Prasada Parasarasana. And then just land your hands slightly below exactly, right? So now, if you were to invert this pose, right, and put her butt down on the ground, you'd be very similar to where you guys were just, right? Okay, so this pose, there's a couple ways to teach this pose. I sometimes teach it from the arms, working the arms and the legs really hard to extend the spine. That's what I'm having you guys do, right? So when I tell her to push down through the heel of her hand and lift out of her wrist, basically I'm telling her to grab the upper arm, right? I'm trying to get her to grab the upper arm, which is going to be crucial. As she does the instruction here, as you do that, is to roll the thighs away from each other, right? Because that's the arms and the legs. And then in this pose, you look up, but you do it from your collarbone, from your tailbone to your collarbone, because you're trying to activate the spine. You see how the arms are working, and then the pose is about extending the spine off of the hips. and lifting up, right? So the arms are trying to receive. As this extends, the arms have to be strong enough to receive it. That's what I'm having you guys work on. The thing about Prasada Parasarasana is that when the hands and the feet are grounded, that makes the extension of the spine easier. That's going to be dog pose, right? All right, and then come on up. So I want you to see this connection, and that's what we're driving at really hard. And then class will get easier again. So if you can, sit back up. Mm-hmm. Sure. So I'm tempted to unbelt Zach's legs and put the block wider, even wider, and make his inner groin scream and howl. Like, what? The chair won't, because he's got the side supports? All right. All right. Keep supporting Scott's back. Yep. All right. So now what we're going to do, one more, yeah? Yeah, absolutely. All right, so now, and the more we can just, Carol, just try getting your legs a little wider. Mm-hmm. But as you do that, see, notice your tendency to fall into that left hip. Yeah, so work back over to the midline. See, part of what's happening, right, Carol, is that the way that it's MS, right? The way the MS is happening is that it's making you see parts of your body more than other parts, right? So like you can actually ground in, you're falling into your left side because you kind of know on one level where that is better, right? So we're going to keep having you not just lean on that spot, but extend off of that side, which seems just the opposite because that side doesn't work as well, right? Right? And so we're trying to have that, instead of it just being like, oh, something to sink into, that's the beginning of the straightening, right? So you're already doing it right now. Can you feel you're doing it right now? And then as that happens, then and then slightly bring, as you lift out of that spot that way, bring your head that way. Yeah, that's it. Breathe here. This is straighter. Breathe here, right? So then, Amy, can you come here just for a second? So push in on each of her hips. So just like you guys come from the side and we're just going to push right here, right on the outside of each hip, and you're going to feel what your spine would get if it were being more symmetrical, right? So we're going to push in on each. Yep. You can even use your fist. It's fine, right? Just to show you that grounding. Does that feel good? And that can keep your head this way, and you can now feel, instead of just falling into this, that's the center of the lift. Like, as you're grounding, that's what we want you to feel. I want you to breathe here, because this is like eating broccoli. You want this more and more, just to feel some throughout your day. This is good. Your head looks really good. Lift your sternum right here. There you go. Awesome. All right. So now what I want to have come forward is I'd like everyone to get a folding chair in front of them. You're wasting yourself again? Okay. Downward facing dog, basically, by having him lean forward, and he can just lean forward onto a chair if it gets lower. Right. All right. So now, put your hands on top of the chair. Mm-hmm. Right now it's fine. Put your back up a little bit. Yeah? Is that okay on your back? Let the grounding of your hands support the part of your back that feels tired. Right? Work the upper arms to support that part of your back. Work everything to support the part that fatigues. The part that fatigues is getting overused over and over and over again. So the more you can coordinate work in other parts of your body to support that part of your body, you're going to get more endurance. All right, so straighten your arms. Mm-hmm. So you guys, dog pose is all about the arms too, right? It's all about the arms. So let's just like look at, so this is good. This is good. Release. Take a break for a second. Amy, will you do dog pose? We're going to get right up close so you can watch her arms. Right, and then I'm going to show you my arms. And then we're going to just do our arms a little bit better. Okay, so one of the things that people, and will you face this way? Yep. So one of the things in dog pose that traditional students don't get, so when I would be in San Diego with my teacher, Joe would always make me demonstrate to everyone else about how to work the arms right. Because the truth is in dog pose, obviously your hands and feet are grounding. You're trying to set the conditions for your spine to extend because this pose is about getting length in your spine, right? And that's what we're just doing in Prasada Parasarasana, right? But we had the arms wide. So it turns out that being able to open your palms and lift out of your wrists, right? Being able to lift out of your wrists. How do you lift out of your wrists? Try it right now. You have to squeeze the upper arm together, don't you? You have to draw the energy up by hitting this together. So this is crucial. Open palms. We tell beginners to roll this way and press in, but it's more that this hits together, receives here, gets caught here, and then you continue it out through the thighs, right? So like this action. So now watch what happens when Amy, just watch her pose, relax your arms some. See what happened? Bam, everything drops, right? Now watch when she gauges her arms again. Look how everything asserts. Arms are crucial in this pose. It's not just about the legs. Okay, good, and then come on down. So as you're sitting here in dog pose arms, hands on a surface. Now, we already know that in dog pose, you've got your hands and your feet grounded. So there's no assistance to put your feet into your feet, but get your legs. So take your legs a little wider, get them on the outside of the chair. Just let it go. Just forget it for a second. Just forget it for a second. I want you to work your arms first. Okay, so your palms are on. Try to straighten your arms while your palms are down flat. Yeah. Straighten your arms. So now we learn from each other in poses, right? So it's not that you're doing it wrong. There's just a way to do it better, right? So let's look over here for a second. Renee, right? Yeah. And part of it is the chair is a little bit high for her, but we can't fix that, right? But notice how she's rolling her shoulders forward, right? Which means she's hollowing in the joint here, which means she's losing a whole bunch of energy between her spine and her arms. So try to broaden across the collarbones more. Broaden more. Now try to maybe even grab the outside of the chair. Now practice like broadening across the collarbones, but straighten your arms. Remember, the arms work the legs, right? So that might be a better pose for you right now. When you were this way, this dropped, right? So now, but you got to work the arms just still the same, right? So you got to figure out how to work the upper arm, right? In muscle to the bone, ground the hands, lift the chest, broaden out through the collarbones. Breathe. Hit the sits bones down, stretch out to the top of your head, and have that be supported by working your arms. So the expansion in your chest, the lift and the extension is trying to be supported by work in your arms, even by awareness in your arms. There you go, and keep it reaching and extending into space. There you go. Breathe. Good, and then release.
That felt so great.
Again, we're getting to what feels great about downward facing dog. So now we're going to turn the chair the other way. So this idea of grounding, so what we just did there, and actually before we do that, if you can take your legs wide, you're already doing it wide, right? If you were with the legs wide with the chair in front of you, we're doing Prasada Parasarasana more, right? Where you're grounding all four. So Jeff, so you got to think about in what we just did, what part of the pose could you challenge yourself in to do a little bit more? It's going to be different for everybody here, right? Where the challenge should be. Jeff should be more forward on his sits bones. You should try to work more of a connection between the arms, this, and awareness in your legs. You should try to come forward on your sits bones a little bit. If that even means bending your knees a little bit, fine. Get it so, because if you're doing If you're behind the balance point, and same with you, but you come forward, when you this time come forward a little bit more into a forward bend as your arms are out straight. Okay? All right, so then the chair's in front of you again. Yeah, just do it the same way, and then we're going to switch it again. So Jeff, you can even come forward a little bit more. Like on your, yeah, and walk your hands farther out. Yep, but don't roll your shoulders forward, right? So lift your sternum, and as you lift your sternum, work your legs. And see, what's great for you, Jeff, is you can use the reference of the chair legs to hit into a little bit to help you lift your sternum. Mm-hmm. All right, so now, come on, extend your arms. Straighten your arms, lift your chest, Beth, hit down through the sits bones, broaden out across the shoulders. Mm-hmm. Keep trying to lift, yeah, right? Mm-hmm. So this is where, so you're breathing, you're extending, you're doing the whole damn pose. As you're working hard, your arms and legs and extending your spine, you're going out to the top of your head, you're going down to the floor, you're going out beyond your shoulders into space, even your arms are in front of you. You're broadening, that's following the collarbones extending, and you're breathing. Mm-hmm. Good, and then release. Take a break. You deserve a break. Mm-hmm. So assistants, we're going to turn the chair the other way. Can you move this stuff for a second? I want to sneak in behind here, Carol. Is this being too much? Am I giving you too much attention? Are you okay? Is it being too much? You would tell me if it was? Because it's okay if you can tell me. You're my elder. You get to tell me anything. Okay? All right, so I want you to put your hands here again. And I just want to but don't come quite so far forward. And I want to just push on a vertebrae right here. Take your head back now. Yep. Mm-hmm. I know this feels a little awkward. Is that okay like that? Although it's hard on your spine, do you feel the relief? See how much heavier you are there? Feel when I do like that? You feel all the extension there? You feel that difference? That's what I want you to feel a little bit. Right? I know it's not really comfortable. We're having a lot of force on your spine. I get that, right? But so this idea of you being able to come forward from this part of your body, right? And connect that to your legs. Mm-hmm. Good. And then release. Just a little bit. So that little bit of push on your spine is going to make your body seem way less heavy, right? Which is part of what's hard about moving, right? Doesn't it feel incredibly heavy now? Yep. All right. So now I want the chairs the other way. Oh, then I want the farther way. I want them up here. That is the other way. Don't ever look at me, man. We're gonna move the chair farther away. Okay. That is the other way. I want you to put your hands forward onto the back of the chair. Yep. Your wrists. Don't even grab it. Get your wrists on there. Ah. Uh-huh. Can you see how we're moving towards dog pose? Uh-huh. Lean forward, especially if your name is Renee. Yeah, and keep leaning forward. Come forward a little farther. Bend your knees if you have to, for God's sakes. Yeah, keep extending out. So now we're higher up. You're higher up. Ideally, I'd like you to come so far forward, which you can't. Right? You see how Beth has got her head between her shoulders? Yeah? Keep coming forward. What do you think? Oh, but wait, I can't. My hamstrings are way too tight. It's not my fault. It's not your fault. But you can know that you're trying to come forward on your sits bones. You're trying to get it. So you might bend your knees a little bit more. Come forward a little bit more. Extend beyond. Extend beyond. Yeah, open your palms. And as you open your palms, you better open the soles of your feet. Open the palms. Open the soles of the feet. Extend the spine forward. Oh, don't forget to breathe. Don't forget to breathe. She's breathing. I was like catching him. He's like so holding his breath. It's kind of funny. Mm-hmm. Good. And then release. Take a break. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. All right, so now it's going to get slightly easier because the contact is going to be with another human being instead of the chair. Okay, so now you can bend your knees. So part of this is so hard because your legs are straight, right? So you can bend your knees except for you, Jeff. I don't want you to bend your knees. I want the person to come in front and go hand to hand. So, you're making like London Bridge is falling down, Mm-hmm. So lean forward, Jeff. Mm-hmm.
I like shoulders better than
So assistants got to figure out what the best way is for you to help out. Higher up, for God's sakes, Nancy, you got to get higher. Stand up. Yeah, no, there's going to be complication. The complication is coming fast. So you got to come forward though, chum. So you got to move back a little bit. Okay. Mm-hmm. So I want you more like this. I want you to lean forward, Jeff. It's going to be hard. You wanted it hard? You're getting hard. Grab his wrist. Grab his wrist instead. Mm-hmm. Pull him forward a little bit. Yep. Pull him forward a little bit. All right. Now, oh my God, how are you going to broaden across your collarbones? Come on, for God's sakes. That is dog pose, right? Mm-hmm. That is like the work of, now extend out through your legs. For God's sakes, make it everything. You're getting pulled, you're extending, you're broadening across. Yeah, your upper arms hitting together. You're grabbing the humerus bone so you can work your legs. But you're coming forward and up and breathe. A little even higher up. Come forward more, higher up. Man, you got to go even higher. Oh my God. Good, and then slowly release. So and then don't release over here. You guys are good. So the next version of this, so assistants can kind of watch. So obviously it changes on everybody, right? So they're coming into their own version, and she's trying to help your shoulders and stuff. But now what I would like is to, Amy, just enter a little rhythm, right? So you're going to, right? So, right, we're going to try to get him to go forward. And I just want you to watch how, whether it physically works or not all the way, right? But what I want is to get this sense. Notice you guys you got nowhere to go, right? You're like thinking, I can't go any further. I'm stuck, and all you're telling me is work harder. I want a little bit of that. I want, as the assistants are in front of them, I want there to be a little bit of back and forth, a little bit of movement, of rhythm in it. Mm-hmm. So you guys aren't just pulling them tall. You guys are trying to sync up. You might have to stand. Well, you might be able to do it that way. Mm-hmm. Right? So we're trying to sneak into your tight hamstrings. This is all sneaky. This is all sneaky, cheaty stuff. So you're going back and forth. So you know how you felt like you're at the end of a brick wall and go back and forth. And now instead of being just stuck right there and me just yelling at you more, you're actually trying to move back and forth. Come into it, flow through it. Go through that spot, lift your sternum. Right? So you actually, this action, if you add some rhythm to it, back and forth, this is really good over. You guys got it synced up really well here. And then lift and then Jeff, you when you come forward, lift your sternum. Right? So you come in there and go, when you're forward, lift, and then back. And she lifts right with it. Carol, does this feel good? It looks great. This looks really good. And then, are you guys related, right? Husband and wife? Put your fist right into her sacrum just a little bit. Yep. Mm-hmm. So, and then she comes forward, just kind of push with your fingers. Yeah. So you actually are helping her come forward just a little bit from the lower part of her spine. Back and forth. Mm-hmm. So then, and then just stop for a second. Take a break. So, and then just let it settle. Now I'm curious, does it make you happier or crabbier when you had the rhythm? Right. Right. And that doesn't mean the stuff before isn't important. It means ultimately one of the things that's so hard about having to do yoga from inside to out, you start working so hard that you forget to get the flowing part in addition to the work, right? Because it's so inward and you're doing all these things. And so you want to get both. Okay, so now I want you to get the chair again. I want you to put your hands on the chair, and I want you to do the same without me yelling at you. I want you to do the same stuff and add your own rhythmic part to the pose. So you don't feel quite so stuck.
We're supposed to move back and forth?
And I would say words like undulate your own spine. And then right when you're forward, right, there's that little bit of sun salutation. Right. So kind of slow it down a little bit, Jeff. Right? And then lift up. And then come back from a lifted chest as you come back. And then inhale. And then exhale, come forward. Come underneath it. Inhale, come up. Extend your arms as you inhale. Right? And then come back with a lifted chest. And then come forward. Inhale. Exhale. Come under. Okay, so let's watch here for a second. Okay, so do it the first day without all that extra. And so he was going back and forth when he first started, right? And this is fine, right? But he's just kind of going with, that's not sun salutation, which he didn't know that I was teaching sun salutation, so that's fine. But he's kind of leading with his head, and he's not, and so do it some more, and he's like keeping his spine, notice the spine is staying in one plane, right? It's being like as a whole lump, right? So now, and he was exaggerating it for me, so he's trying to help me teach this, right? All right, so, yeah, you were, right? So then your hands, so now I'm going to have him inhale, come up, exhale, come underneath on the exhalation, bring his head through, inhale, come on up, straighten the arms, and come back with a lifted chest, right? Inhale again here, so you exhale, and then inhale again here. Exhale, come forward. Ground, work the arms, like inhale, there's the spine. See the difference? That's what we're going for as he comes back. This is the core of sun salutation, right? Is getting the difference between how the spine feels like this, what happens when it comes forward, and then reasserts the sunlight, right? Coming forward is more like the moon, coming up is more like the sun. So this idea of him, instead of just going back and forth like we're just stretching, we're not just stretching. Right? We're trying to do something with the spine. All right, so everybody. You guys tired over here? Or do you look like you're getting worn out? You got a long day, chump. You got a long day, chump. There, Carol, I have to say, awesome. Right? And then back through again. Right? The more we can get you, Carol, moving through your spine, that is so good. That is like awesome. Okay, the more you can get moving through your spine, Carol, the more freedom you're going to feel that's not dependent on outward movement. Right? This is really good. All right, keep trying to get that. And remember, there's an inhale as the chest comes up. Exhale, come forward, go under, ground your hands, ground your feet. Inhale, lift your chest, exert your arms, come on back. Another breath here. And then on the exhalation, come down, come forward, go underneath as much as you can. Ground the hands, ground the legs. Inhale, expand the spine. Come on back. Good. 2 more times. 1 more time, 2 more times, whatever makes sense. Good, and then release. So now, for the final trick, right? So, Amy, we're going to flip over onto the stomach. right?
What do you want me to do?
Lay on your stomach. Some of you are going to be able to get up on your hands and knees. Some of you aren't. So what? Right? Some of you are just going to be able to come up under your forearms. So she's going to come up under her forearms here. That's upward facing dog. That's good. Right? So this is part of it. Okay, so, and then come on back down. And then so Amy's going to go up on her hands and knees. Just go up on your hands and knees. Some of you might get here. This is where we might put Zach down out of his chair for a second. She's going to scoot back into downward facing dog. So she's going to half downward facing dog. So scooch your butt back. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So those of you that can do that today, that's what we're going for. Release and then ground and release down to the floor. Right? And then upward facing dog, whatever that is, whether it's on your forearms. Yep, like that. Inhale, exhale, come forward, and then if we can, you're going to come back up on your hands and knees and do downward facing dog again. Right? Like that. So we're going to try to do this now, whatever version you can on your stomach, a little bit more like the pose itself. But I don't think this is the crucial part of it. But we might as well just have fun and try to do it. So I think for Zach and, well, do you get on your stomach for easy? You're such a wisp of a fellow. We can lift you out quickly. All right, so can we get out another mat and just throw them on the ground?
Stop. Throw 'em on my legs. Yes, that's what we do here.
And then watch how we won't throw them on the ground.
You might want to edit that.
Is it feeling like work? It's a little hot in here. You might want to say, what did you say?
You might want to edit that part about throwing hands.
Yeah, no, I think it's funny because it's clearly not what I mean.
Right.
Yep. Just be on your stomach if you can. That's awesome, Beth.
The bolster on the knee.
We're not going to do anything yet. You can keep going that. That's now roll your shoulders back, Renee. Mm-hmm. And then very, very, like it matters as much as coming up. Come down to the ground and lengthen your spine the whole time. Mm-hmm. And then ground, and then come on back up. So like you practice, bring your elbows in, you practice this movement here, right? You practice this lengthening here. Mm-hmm. So I wonder if getting everyone to put a bolster under their stomach or something will help them get up on their knees.
I can get up without spinning.
Yeah, I know. Can you guys all do it? Okay, so I just didn't know what you guys could do. Okay? And so I know this seems maybe easy, Carol, but don't overdo it because this is actually really hard work. You're not fatiguing too much, right, Carol? Okay. All right. So remember, now we're going to try to string them together a little bit. So come forward. Now you guys all came up. And be on your hands and knees just more like this for a second. Mm-hmm. Be on your hands and knees and just get this idea of now look straight down at the floor. Straight down on the floor. This is really smart, just grounding your shoulders. That's really good. You're just grounding and resting. Put the bolster for a second on your knees and let it ground your legs. Mm-hmm. Yep, and just ground for a second and just watch for a while, right? All right, so now I want you from your tailbone, I want you to look up at me. From your tailbone, not just your head. Mm-hmm. You don't actually have to look right at me, but in other words, look up, right? And then back and go back now from your tailbone and take your head down. So I just don't want your neck moving, right? It's not about your neck. It's about lengthening, click, 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 all the way up your spine. Inhale and look up at me. Taking a break? Is that your knees hurting or just? Okay, take a break, right? Exhale, look back down at the ground. Mm-hmm. I'm not so interested in rolling the other way like cat-cow. Well, you could. Go ahead. Inhale, come on up. Right, look up from your tailbone. Exhale, go the other way. Do the cow, the cat. All right. So those of you that can, need a break, take a break. Walk your hands out. Do downward facing dog, half downward facing dog from here. So you don't come back all the way. Yeah, exactly. Walk your hands farther out, Jeff, and don't let your butt go down to the back of your calves. So now, oh no, Lion's he needs a break. He just needs a break too. Yeah, he just needs a break. So now the whole class comes to fruition right now. Work your upper arm. Squeeze the muscle towards the bone of the upper arm. And as you do, extend through your sitting bones back towards the wall behind you. Ground your shins. Work your arms to work your legs. Work your legs to work your arms. More work in your right arm if your first name starts with an R. Right? And then you lift your head up a little bit, Renee. There you go. Keep stretching back. Good. And then release for a second. Give yourself a break if you need it. So what's going to happen now, right? Jeff, you don't get a break, right? What's going to happen now is an assistant's going to come when you're in downward facing dog, and they're going to ground your hands. They're going to like push down on the hands and, oh, God, your left hand is so much better than it used to be, Jeff. It's amazing. All right? Push into my fingers. Push into my fingers right here. Yeah. So you're in your full pose, and the person is just coming down and grounding your hands. More on the hands, Nancy. And just push down. Now take that energy, that grounding energy, and take it out through the outside of your hips. Out, so you're lengthening your back from the grounding of your hands out through the back of your hips. Breathe. Good, and then release. Give yourself a break. We're going to start to put them together. No, I haven't even looked once at the clock. Oh, the class is supposed to be over. That is, well, who's got a ride coming right now? We'll do one thing quick and then we'll be done. I'm a bad yoga teacher, bad yoga teacher. All right, so now I want you to come up. Are you too tired? All right. Hands and knees. Downward facing dog. Hit the tailbone back. Straighten your arms out so the tailbone goes back. So like that. Like that. Walk your hands out, Jeff. Hit the tailbone back. So now I want you to come forward now and come all the way forward and like into a push-up. Walk your hands out if you have to. Right, walk your hands out if you have to. Come all the way down. Land your torso onto the ground. Let it ground. Now, go up into upward facing dog. So you come all the way down like that. Like that, Scott. Like this. Yep. Lift up. Oh, no. So now you got to look down and go right back up on your hands and knees. Come back up on your hands and knees. Yeah, can you believe it? Oh, no. Oh, no. You guys were worried this class wasn't going to be hard enough. And if you can't do it, it's fine. And then back down into plank. This is awesome. You got the right spirit, Renee. It's awesome. And then ground. Oh, no. And then back up one more time. And you can stop right there, Renee. You don't have to come all the way back up on your knees. They're perfect. So what's happening, this happens to me, is that the knees slide. So I can only do this if my knees are on a sticky mat. And that's what you need. Right? Knees are on a sticky mat. And then come on back down into plank and then back down and land and plunk and all right, the rack. Everyone gets the rack. Right? Yeah, on your back. Right? All right, so then what we'll do is pull out on Carol's knees and pull arms overhead and pull up on her arms or on her shoulders, right? All right. So, Scott, are you being too worn out right now?
No, the rack's backwards. That's what
You got to scoot a little bit this way so Julie has more room.
yeah.
And then, yeah, we're just going to pull out really hard on your knees there, on your back, and just feel the length in your hips and let it go up to your arms. That looks really good, Carol. I hope it feels at least decently good. Yeah, and that's part of what we want right there. We want more of that in your life, right there, right there. It's going to help your mental state too. You need freedom. We all need freedom.
Taller. Oh. It's okay, I showed it.
Farther back, Julia. Lean back. I've never seen someone lose an appendage, man. Pull hard. All right, so then once you've been racked, go right into Shavasana. So we got a couple of rack-ees that need to be racked by some rackers. No. Jeff and Scott. Oh, you did, Scott? Dude. So I would scoot away from the wall. So just stop for a second, scoot a little away so you've got even more leverage back, right? Same thing, and then grab his arms. You try to stay back there. Yeah, so you can really lean back. And so Jeff, if it rips off your arm, because we've got to watch his left shoulder.
Okay.
Again, I'm using these words in jest. I don't mean rip anything, right? And then really lean back. Is that better leverage, Jeff?
Yes.
Yeah.
Bolster, yeah.
Can you swing side to side?
I kind of sway side to side. I want you to sway. No, like that way, like what Nancy's doing. Like that. That's what he's asking for. All right, so then it's Shavasana time, and you've earned it, because that was actually kind of a hard class. Yeah. You wouldn't want me just to come in and make it too easy, right?
Thank you.
You want some under your knees, or are you good? One under his head. Put one under his head. Mm-hmm. So bolster across Carol's lap, so she's got something for her hands to like really rest on. Her arms and forearms. You're straight. Just let yourself plunk. Assistants could do Shavasana too if they wanted. I suggest it. In fact, I might even order it, but I'm trying to be nice. You've worked hard. There's been a lot of gripping of muscles. So the space between the muscles and the bone, especially in your upper arm, needs to spread out. So pick a point on the inner edge of each shoulder blade and connect that point to the back of each upper arm and then to the elbows, especially the elbows. And let those 3 points, the inner edge of the shoulder blade, the upper arm, and the elbows, all go into the floor. Let go right there. Awareness and relief should maybe shift down, let it like seep down towards your wrists. Towards your wrists. Let go. Let the space inside of you start to replenish and grow. As muscles grip, we lose space. As we lose space, we lose freedom. Shavasana is also about freedom. Soften the temples, the jaw. Relax the belly to relax the throat. Release the inside of the mouth. Even let go of your teeth, gums. Space. Feel your breath. Don't change it. Thank your body. Thank the hum. Thank the hum that is your body. Start to bring yourself back. Slightly deeper inhalation, slightly longer exhalation. Open and close your eyes a couple times. Let the light in slowly. When you're ready, and if you can, bring your hands together in front of you. Namaste. Spirit in me bows the spirit in you. If you didn't know, thanks to BK Sangar, who passed this week. Everything here comes from his practice. All right. When you're ready, and if you can, bend the left leg. Push, roll over to your right side. If it's too hard to do, don't do it. Don't worry about it, Renee. It's not worth the struggle on your neck. Mm-hmm. All right. And gradually sit up. If you need help, help. Renee needs some help so she doesn't ruin Shavasana. So I can see you like revisiting the expansion in Shavasana. I could also need to.
Oh, during.
Yeah, at the end there. Can you still feel it, kind of?
Yes.
Yeah, right there. Right, there it is.
The thing that I liked the best about this class was to be on the rack, because that is the only time I ever get to be totally straight. We've never done that, getting up on our hands and knees and then down on our elbows and then back up and then down again, and so that doing that was really good, and that was good for me to do that.
Today, like the other last week's class, I just open up. My whole lungs and my chest just expands, and I feel like I can breathe better. I just like that openness, and today I felt like I got straight. My spine expanded, and I just feel more straight and not crooked, leaning to the left.
I've been doing this class for probably 8 months now, and the one thing that always astounds me is every time a session ends, it seems like it was the best session I've gone through. It's as I get into this more and more, I feel like my brain is able to connect more with the yoga and the practice, and I feel like there's more and more connection, and feel great about that. So the entire session, the assistants, having assistants to help out during the session is great, because there's certain moves that we can't do. I love the fact that Matt or you, when you're leading the class, will put us into adaptive poses that are meant to mimic poses that would be done by those that are fully abled and have the same sensation, and everything I have to say is positive. I found the hardest part was I started to become fatigued during the class, and that's kind of when I had to take a break. It gets into the whole realm where it's hard for me to take a break just because of persona, but I know it's the right thing to do.
Right.
And Matt was 100% supportive of taking the break when it was needed. But really, it's just everything about the class is enjoyable. All the different positions, what's the word for the end session that we do?
Shavasana.
The Shavasana is fabulous as a connection. I find that the more you go through this, the more you're able to reach a different state of mind.
What I found really interesting is that the slightest change in a posture, or just a different way to stretch or to hold your body, makes such a huge difference in the benefit, or how my body feels by doing that, and the benefit that it gives me. And we didn't do a lot of physical movements today. It was mainly expansion from within, and it's amazing to me that is so helpful and so fatiguing as well when I'm not really doing a lot of physical activity. I so enjoy this class. I look forward to it every week and do whatever I can possibly to be here, because it means so much to me. And it's not just the class and the movements and the stretching, which are wonderful, but it's just the camaraderie of the group, starting from the instructors to the assistants to the other participants. It's just a wonderful place to keep giving me hope, to keep pursuing, and the empathy here is wonderful, and it's a great place.
Thank you.
Is that good? Oh, I guess.
Was there something that Matt said today that stuck out to you?
I mean, in between the times he was yelling at me?
Yeah, like what did that feel like?
No, it was amazing, because he really nailed it on the head when he said, Renee, you're doing it through or you're straining too much through your mouth, because that's what I tend to do when I have some physical challenge or some you know, something that I need to strive to do or get through. I do use my mouth, so that was so on point.
Yeah. It's funny getting caught like that, right? Like,
It is.
just who sees that?
Because usually it's like pursing my lips or something. I wasn't even doing that, but yet he got me.
What I experienced today, I was back to back with Scott for a good part of the class, and when the students were extending their arms and filling out into the space beyond their arms, I could feel his back just broaden, and it actually pulled mine. It was really incredible. And then when we were, I had my feet braced against his feet, and he had to, you know, he was supposed to be stretching out through his feet. I don't know how to do it without showing you. And I just felt the power. At one point, there was just a burst of power that I felt that was really, really great.
That real connection.
Yeah, it was phenomenal. And it was a workout for me too.
Yeah.
So it was good.
Oh, that's great. Great.
You know, first of all, I love assisting. It's such a priority because I learned something new each class and how individual it is. Yoga is always extremely individual, and I've kind of come to learn that all yoga is adaptive yoga in one way or another, even in myself. But today, I think today's class was a bit more engaging. It was kind of less restorative, less balanced with restorative, because I know we did a lot of like invigorating postures. So I think today's class was very invigorating, and that was great. One thing that really stuck out today, which is kind of a theme of what I've noticed, is focusing on the concept of the posture and not trying to have it look a certain way, because you never really know how it's going to manifest in someone's body. Keeping the concept and feeling of an intended posture in my own body and kind of doing it energetically first, and then going, if I'm assisting with someone, they might want to cross their legs. They might want to keep their legs together, and you think, okay, is this still achieving the posture, and how can I make it work for them? And today specifically with chaturangas, a little light bulb went off, and I thought, wow, how would I set up a chaturanga for an adaptive student and achieve that posture efficiently to where the full concept is received in their subtle body? What props would I use? And so that's kind of a new thing that I'm starting to learn today. That's a posture we don't normally do in adaptive classes. So yeah, I think that's it. Thank you.